Hi all, Reed here from ReedVerde.com. So the drop happened last week. I've been taking a little bit of time to try and figure out, what do I really think about the things that are coming up? So let's kind of jump right on into it. I've got it here. I'm going to run through a couple of the things that I saw here on the video, and I've got some notes. So one, Subsplash 1 came out, and they wanted to talk about group messaging, live streaming, Fluoro, these things to tackle the everyday needs, right, with Fluoro as a church. I think this is really exciting. I want to come at it from a little bit different point. Messaging is the number one most important tool you have in your app because people are able to create their own profiles, which you're going to see that they talk about, but also once they do that, they update their name and stuff like that. Once you have them in your app, you're going to be able to do a lot of other stuff. So let's jump right on into this thing. One of the things that I saw here, let's jump on over to minute 23:54. Let's see what they say.
Well, volunteer management is all about moving people towards serving their church community, living out the reality of being a part of the body of Christ. With volunteer management, you have the ability to quickly find...
All right, let me stop right here. I don't know if you recognize this, but this looks very similar, and I'm happy that it looks very similar to Planning Center services. All right, this is going to be a huge win for churches to get everything all into one place. But I've got a little bit of a caveat. One, Planning Center is as good as they are because they are the industry standard and they have really maximized each of their platforms. Let's get one thing clear. Your app is for your entire church, all right? I don't know if all of the things that Subsplash wants to add in here, if you're actually going to want to have them in your one app. Last I checked, Planning Center had a total of, I think it was 9 different applications for services, for people, for all these different things, because it doesn't hit every individual person. So I think this Planning Center, like service, build out that they're doing here at Fluoro is going to be great. But if they don't have the individual apps, especially, like the iPad music stand that I use regularly, it's going to be difficult for me to switch over from Planning Center over to using this from Fluoro. So that to be said, I'm excited about it, but I'm taking it with a grain of salt. All right, the next thing they like to talk about is at 25:01. Let's jump on over to that. All right, 25:01.
One important part of getting the whole family engaged is making it easy and safe to drop off the kids. So how does Subsplash 1 make checking in simple?
Not only is it simple for admins to set up a check-in station, for parents, the check-in process couldn't be smoother.
Now I want you to look.
You can quickly find your family through the search tool.
QR code.
Or add yourself to the system if it's your first time.
Right?
Select who's checking in, and
they're on a
create
computer?
a unique PIN number for added security. And after check-in, the system automatically prints out a tag for parents and their children. All of this helps create more margin for families and offers a safe and trusted experience when the whole family comes to church.
All right, so if we can get this into the app, it's going to be great. So it might just be like on a computer right now, but I imagine that if we can get a link, we're going to be able to bring that into the app. So that's really exciting to be able to do. The only problem is going to be like that scanning with the video and, with your camera and a computer. The church is going to need something to be able to initiate that. So I haven't seen that quite yet, but it is exciting. And I know that it's already in Fluoro. We've seen that. We just need to get good at, using that. So that's pretty exciting. So I'm excited to see that. Let's move on now to the next thing that I saw. Minute 26. Okay.
Churches are loving that we now offer mass communications through mailouts. Whether you're sending out a weekly newsletter or a one-off email blast, it all happens in mailouts. It's an effective, simple-to-use email builder that makes sure you have the tools you need to keep people informed and connected.
Subsplash 1 really is everything.
All right, here's my caveat about mailouts. Here's a trick question. When does your email become out of date? The answer is the moment you hit send. Right? You can't get that email back. You can't update it if you put a comma instead of an exclamation point, if you got the date wrong, stuff like that. I mean, mailouts are great for people who are using them. I don't think I'm going to use it just because I've got messaging already and those things that need to happen, on an immediate basis. I'm going to be using my weekly update, a web page, something that is dynamic so that people have that information. I might use the mail out, for something like a header that says, hey, we've got this special thing going on this week. For all updates, get the app. For all updates, stay at, go to this page where the stuff is dynamic. We have calendars in our app, which the second you update the calendar, the second you add an event, it is dynamic in there. So mailouts is cool, but for me, I don't think that I'm going to be using it all that much. All right, let's jump on over now to 2658.
Essential for keeping churches connected in this season. Tools like our integrated
talking about
giving
live
prompts
streaming
help
right now.
churches enable generosity directly in their live streams. In Subsplash
So we've
Live,
had this for a
features
while.
like trimming have saved countless hours of post-production.
And I'm a
work for
huge
media
advocate
teams
for this.
And volunteers. I could personally say it has freed up hours of my time each and every week.
Yeah, I say it takes me a total of
We
8
also
minutes.
know that when it comes to your online content, engagement is everything. That's why we're excited to announce a new feature that's all about engaging your community in real time. Introducing the long-anticipated edition of Live Chat.
Yeah, this
What
is huge.
impact can churches have and expect from this?
Live Chat invites your community to connect in real time with an open chat that's activated as soon as your live stream begins. For admins, it's as easy as flipping a switch in your Subsplash dashboard. And for end users, they can access the live chat through your live stream by logging in with their Subsplash profile.
You see that?
Then
He said that they're going to need to log in with their Subsplash login, with their profile. This is a double-edged sword. Some people, when you go to Facebook, people have to log in to chat. YouTube to chat, you're going to need to have a profile, right? I don't see anonymous, posting going to be things that people are going to value, want, or, platforms are going to allow. This is great, though, because once somebody logs in, you have their name. You have maybe their image, maybe their phone number. They get to update these profiles as they're going to show. So I think this is huge. I was trying to do this with, all chat messaging, in the beginning, creating a group. Now we've got something that is going to be able to, do this inherently right off the bat. I don't have to build something extra.
and they're ready to join the conversation. We created live chat to enable meaningful connections among your community and build engagement with your online content. And now it's more simple and integrated than ever.
Another big
Integrated
question
is
that's
huge.
been top of mind for many churches is how to get back to in-person services. Especially
All
when
right,
you
so let's jump on over to the next thing that I saw. They're talking about in person, and this is going to be about registrations. This is at 2834.
That's exactly why we added event registration to the Subsplash platform. So you can create, publish, and promote your events without the hassle of any third-party software. It's simple.
So the registrations, we've had this for a little while. I think this is great. We're going to want to see giving to be integrated into this a little bit more so we can create funds, create payments, create stuff instead of having to go over into the payment stuff, create a different fund, copy that link, and bring it on over. I'm sure it's coming. Subsplash does great at listening to us and wanting to make things easier. So I'm excited to see registrations. All right, the next thing that they talked about was at 2947. So let's take a look at this.
escape. We know there's always room to grow. Steven, what are you most excited about next for Subsplash Giving?
One of the hardest parts about switching your giving platform is migrating all your data. That's why we're excited to share that bulk import is now in development and coming this spring.
So moving over data, this is what people want me to do for them all the time. Not necessarily with their giving and stuff like that. I don't usually work in giving, but bulk imports and stuff like that, that has made the process a lot easier. And so I'm excited to see this. I think it's going to really benefit a lot of churches. And the whole point is that you have all of your information in one place, whether it's video or giving or messaging or people. It's just going to make it easier. What I'm kind of surprised is that we get to 31, 32, that they didn't start out with this. I think this is the most important aspect of the entire thing. This is talking about messaging.
Really are built from the ground up to help churches make more disciples and build authentic community. With people, admins can see every user profile associated with your church. You can easily create new profiles or edit existing profiles.
We've been able to do this.
With updated
This is great.
information. But the best part is that it's not just up to admins to manually add this info.
Okay,
Because your
that's the
end
first but.
users can also create and
I got a little
edit their
excited.
own profiles. What's really unique about people is that these profiles stay with your end users
Right.
throughout the entire Subsplash ecosystem.
Stay with them through the ecosystem.
And it's all syncing with Fluoro.
All right. I haven't seen this yet, but if this is true and this actually happens, this is going to be the most important thing. Because once we get people to jump into your live stream, right? They go on your website, they see your live stream, they're like, oh, I want to chat. So they create a profile, right? They all of a sudden, they get their name, they put in their phone number. Right now, they're just creating this like little profile in Subsplash ecosystem, right? But they just said that this is going to work with Fluoro as well. So that means that if that person's name is in Fluoro, I can create registrations. I can create other groups. I can create, I can put them on my worship team. I can schedule them for all these other stuff. If that's the case, children's check-in and all that stuff, if I create it in Fluoro, we should expect to see them available over in the app to message them, be like, hey, we met at church. But if they created it in the live stream, we should be able to see that, oh, that's a person that just showed up this week. We've never seen them before. Let's send them. Maybe that's when I started Drip Campaign and use that mail out stuff to start saying it, like week 1, hey, we're so glad you stopped by. Week 2, did you try and check out a small group? Week 3, we'd love to see you for our meal. So I think this is the most important part. They've had messaging, they've had people, they've had groups, they've had all this stuff. They have Fluoro. It's an amazingly powerful stuff. If they actually get these things talking together, man, are we going to have great integration, right? Man, are we going to have great interaction with our people and be able to track them and interact with them. As long as we don't, onslaught people with all of these tools and all of these actions in one place. Let's keep our app focused on the content and the people and the interactions. And then if we want to get more granular with our experience, if we want people to be a part of our worship service and sign up to be on the team, let's move them to another space. Let's not make our normal people wade through all of that content and be confused, right? Let's put that behind a door and give access to the people who need access for that, right? The website of things, a website is made as lead generation to get people interested in your church. Your app, right, our original app that we've had for years now for Subsplash is about getting content to people so that they can interact in a digital community that fosters in-person growing community. But then there are that subset of people who are really, really dedicated and are willing to go to the next step and donate, go to the even further next step and serve, go to the next further and be on, a worship team or be in these things that are going to need more interaction, going to need more commitment. So I really hope that eventually Subsplash creates other app platforms so that we don't scare off the member who is just willing to yes, I'm willing to download your app and be a part of it. I don't want to give them too many things to click through and look through to try and get to the content that they need on a regular basis, right? We look at, connect cards, and if we put what's your name, what's your phone number and email, we'll contact you. That has a much higher rate of interaction than what's your name, what's your family, where do you live, how many kids do you have, blah, blah. If you have 30 questions, each additional question means the person is willing to jump out. I'm just afraid of what all of these things in one place is going to do to the Subsplash experience if we don't have a good philosophy of understanding who we are trying to serve and how we are trying to do that with the best user experience and the best user interface. So that's my take on the drop. I hope that you enjoy it. Let me know if you have any questions. If you want my help, I'm always available at readverde.com. You can message me. You can jump in the Facebook group. You can find me on YouTube. I'm always willing to help. So thank you so much for taking the opportunity to listen today, and I'll talk to you guys later. All right.